Hello and welcome to Mortgage Watch. I'm Elon Auerbach of Unitrust Mortgage in San Diego, bringing you news, mortgage, real estate, and financial that you can use. In the top of the news this week, I think many of you have seen that oil prices have dropped a little bit, which set off a lot of excitement on Wall Street and stocks going up. I still think that the long-term trend here is that oil prices are going up. And this is inflationary. It's not really good for interest rates and for the Federal Reserve rates that they offer for banks to borrow money. As long as oil remains this high, and we think it'll continue long term, it's going to be inflationary. It's going to be very hard for mortgage rates to come down. In the developing world, we see that in China, there's 25,000 new drivers every day. That's 500,000 drivers a month. So that's a lot of demand for oil. I recently attended a mortgage and international real estate conference in Las Vegas, and interestingly enough, there's a huge trend in the United States and Europe for green buildings and green development and for general awareness of what needs to be done. There's definitely a change in what's going on here, and people are becoming more aware of it, but obviously this also has to spread to the developing countries. I think that green is the color of the new money as well as the old money. And when I say that, I mean people are becoming aware that these developments in building and in development and also in how we lead our lives are really going to have a major impact on each of us individually and on our economy. I know that our society is based on a lot of driving, and that's how we all live, but I can see that we're starting to pick up trends that have been developed in Europe over the last 20 or 25 years, where gasoline has been $4 for many, many years. I notice at the pump now, we're way past $4. So I know that this change is coming, but I notice that it's also coming in a lot of ways, and industry is recognizing this. And so maybe it took the economics to force us to change the way we live and what's going on in technology, but I think it's a trend that's here, and that'll be good long term, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this crisis. There probably is a bubble in oil prices, and when it does break, we will see mortgage rates come down accordingly, which hopefully will be in the next 6 to 9 months. As we talked about previously, the LIBOR rate, which affects a lot of adjustable rate mortgages, is going to be overhauled. As it was disclosed a few weeks ago that a lot of banks are basically lying about the rate that they're paying to borrow money. And the LIBOR rate, again, is what bank borrowing is based on. It's the LIBOR London Interbank Offered Rate. And the banks, if they're misquoting what they're borrowing money and what it's costing them, sets the LIBOR rate too low. So that's going to be examined tomorrow and will probably be readjusted, probably upward. In other mortgage industry news, Countrywide, of course, is in the top of the news, as they have been for a long time. They settled some investor lawsuits and shareholder lawsuits, but I can tell you folks, a lot of change is still going to come there before Bank of America closes that deal. I believe and I'm predicting that you're going to see Countrywide in the news in a lot of bad ways in terms of federal lawsuits and investigations and so on. That'll continue in the long haul. In other news, I want to mention also that regional banks are now coming under scrutiny. And that is that, regulators have been looking at the larger banks and Wall Street firms, and that's going to be trickling down to regional banks. Most of them have not announced what their trends are and what their foreclosures are, but it's been predicted that new home, that their rates of delinquency and so on are increasing, and will probably start coming out into the news in the coming weeks. Good news is that new home sales have gone up 3.3% in April, and that's positive news. But it does seem that home prices have declined a little bit more, but seem to be firming up in some areas. So that is a very, very positive trend. As we had thought, once home prices reach a certain point, investors and buyers are going to jump in and get into the market and start buying homes. And it looks like new home sales typically lead. And so first thing you see is activity in new home sales and then in resales. So that is good news if they're up anything at all, because for a long time they were very, very flat. So we think mortgage rates are going to hold steady here in the coming week. We think that new home sales are on a bit of an upward trend. And new homes, by the way, are also environmentally a lot more conscious and also a lot more energy sufficient and save buyers in energy. Some of them have been built with a lot of green principles in mind, and that could be driving some of the trend also, because I know the builders are really announcing that and driving that. So hopefully home prices have firmed a little bit and we'll start to see them find the bottom. With that, I'm going to wish you all a good week. We look forward to being in touch with you next week. Have a great week and we'll see you then. Thank you very much.